everyone, so today's video is going to be my December wrap-up. Now, December was quite a decent reading month for me. I did mainly read manga, but I did manage to read 16 things. So with things I mean books and manga, because like I said, I read a lot more manga than books, which happens a lot in months that I don't really feel like reading a lot. Now, as I'm filming this, it's currently January, and I think it's around like January 10th or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I haven't read anything so far, and that has to do with how bad my mental health is, but I'm gonna stop talking about that because this is a December wrap-up, not a January wrap-up. So yeah, let's just get into the 16 things that I read in December. In December, it was actually my birthday. December 3rd, to be specific, is my birthday. And for my birthday, I got an e-reader from my dad, which was really unexpected, but I really like it, even though, again, I haven't really used it in January because I just can't read right now. But yeah, I got my e-reader and I immediately got started with reading. And I know that a lot of people use like NetGalley for like books that aren't like out yet, and I decided to join that as well because I had never made an account or anything like that. So I decided to make an account, and one of the first books I think that I read on there was School of Love Volume 1, which I really liked. Like the cover of this, it looks really cute. It's basically like, I don't think I can call it manga because it's not like Japanese, but I guess you would call it like a comic then, I guess. But yeah, this was really cute. I really like the art style. These kids, like, I don't know how old they are, like I forgot, but they have way better style than I will ever have, and they're literally children. So yeah, I'm a bit offended by that, but yeah, otherwise this was very good. It was actually a lot like deeper than I expected it to be. Like, because it's written for like a younger audience, I'm pretty sure I wasn't expecting it to go that deep, but it actually did have some like more darker topics that they talked about, and I really enjoyed that. I'm definitely gonna read like the second like volume or issue or whatever you call it. I'm definitely going to read that once it comes out. So I ended up giving this 4 stars. One of the reasons why I didn't give it any higher than that was because something about this like cover just made me think that it would have like LGBT plus representation. I don't know why, but it just like gave off that vibe. And I was kind of disappointed when it didn't have any LGBT plus rep, which that might still happen in like the second volume or something like that. But yeah, because of that, I didn't give it like any higher than 4 stars, just because I was expecting LGBT plus rep and I didn't get it, which is obviously like my fault. Like, I shouldn't have expected that just from the cover. But I don't know, does anyone else look at this cover and think like, you know, there's gonna be some like LGBT plus rep? Like, I don't know, like, to me that just like screamed it. Like, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to like read it, was because I thought it would have that representation. But yeah, it was still really good. I recommend it, especially for like a younger audience. The next book that I read was also a book that I got from NetGalley, and this book was an experience to read and not a very good one. The book that I'm talking about is Safety in Numbers. Now, by the time that I post this video, even now as I like film this, I think this book is now like officially out. And yeah, I'm kind of scared of like stating my opinion on it because it's not a good opinion. But yeah, I feel like it's necessary that I talk about it, so that's what I'm gonna do. So the reason that I picked up this book from NetGalley in the first place was because I saw that it had a disabled main character. One of the main characters has a traumatic brain injury. And I read that and I was like, great, some disability representation, a perfect way to like start using my e-reader. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect way to start using my e-reader because, like I said, it was an experience to read and not a very good one. But yeah, let me just get into that, I guess. One of the first things that I really didn't like about this book was the description. It used the word broken to describe the character who has a traumatic brain injury, and I really didn't like that. But I thought to myself, maybe they're gonna do this thing with the main character who is disabled where she starts off like hating herself and hating her disability, and then she slowly like stops doing that, and she stops like hating her disability, and her relationship with her disability becomes different. And I really thought they would go that route with the way that they were writing. I really thought that the book would end with her being like okay with her disability, because obviously accepting a disability can be really difficult, especially if it's something like a traumatic brain injury. Like, it can be very difficult to accept that you're like suddenly disabled. That can be very, like, again, traumatic in itself and not just a brain injury. But yeah, like I said, it's completely normal to like feel like that, especially when you first become disabled. Even when you already have been disabled for like years, like you can still struggle with it. Like, for example, right now, I mentioned in the beginning of this video, and I've mentioned in a couple other videos, that my mental health isn't good right now. And one of the reasons for that is my physical health. And so I completely get like a character in a book like expressing how they feel about their disability and how it isn't like very positive. Like, I completely get that as a disabled person myself, but I still feel like this book painted disability in like a completely negative way, and I did not like that. Let me just get into why I think that, which I feel like this is going to turn into a rant video about this book. I'm going to try not to do that, but just let me get into a couple things that I want to like talk about with this book. So yeah, please stick with me. Now, one of the main things that Serafina, who is the main character who is disabled, one of the things that she keeps like repeating is that nobody will ever love her because she is disabled, and because it must be so awful to be in a relationship with her when she can't even talk, which, as someone who struggles with talking, I don't really appreciate that. Like, it's like the author is saying that, like, if you can't talk properly, you're never gonna be loved. And like, I don't like that, which again, you can write that in a book and make it not really like a good thing, but a thing that readers like me are gonna be okay with if you retract that statement. Like, towards the end of the book, like have Serafina say that, hey, just because I'm disabled doesn't mean that I can't be loved. Because disabled people can fall in love and can be loved by other people. However, they did not say that. Like, at the end of the book, this is like a slight spoiler, but I feel like you would have already expected it because it's like a romance book, but she ends up with like the other main guy character, but even though she's now like in a relationship with this guy, you still get this feeling that she believes that he doesn't really love her fully because she has a disability. And again, I don't like that. You can make a character who is disabled like not like their disability, again, because, you know, a lot of disabled people have that naturally, that feeling, especially with how ableist society can be. Like, especially right now as I'm filming this, like I said, I'm having a very hard time because of my physical disabilities mainly, and it's making my mental health worse. And again, you can make a character think like that in the book, and you can make them think that they don't like their disability and they wish they were able-bodied. You can make them think that, but I feel like at the end of the book you have to retract that, and you have to say, hey, the reason why I thought that, and the reason why I wanted to be able-bodied and not be the amazing disabled person that I am, is because society is ableist and people are ableist. And I feel like Serafina had to realize that. She had to realize that the reason why she had so much like hatred towards her disability was because other people had hatred towards it. Like, other people made fun of her for it. Like, that's not on her. Like, that's not because of her. That's because other people are just ableist assholes. And again, I feel like I'm talking about this for so long, but I feel like I can't like correctly state my point because, you know, I also have speech difficulties and I feel like I can't express myself, you know, properly, especially with a topic like this that I'm very like, you know, passionate about. But I hope you still like understand my point. Again, I'm not trying to like hate on like the author, but yeah, I feel like with the way that the book ends, I feel like it's just like, it's a term that like a lot of like disabled people will use, and that's like inspiration porn, which I'll see if I can find like the definition of it. But yeah, I feel like that's just how it was at the end, and I really didn't like it. I feel like I just hate read the last like 50 pages of this book because I was so done. Because we were at the last 50 pages of the book and Serafina was still just like hating herself. And again, it's completely fine to end the book with a character still struggling with self-hatred. That's completely fine. That's realistic. But I feel like you gotta like make them have some kind of progress because you're writing something that people are gonna read and people are gonna be influenced by. And if they just read a book where like a disabled main character is just hating on themselves like almost every single page, like people are gonna be influenced by that and they're gonna think to themselves, so all disabled people hate themselves. Good to know. Thank you for telling me. Like, I don't like that. Like I said, it is realistic to write a main character and to not make them be like the perfect person at the end. That's realistic. Having Serafina still hate herself in some way, that's realistic. But I feel like you had to point out at the end that her self-hatred was caused by other people. It was not caused because she's disabled. It was caused because people don't like that she's disabled. And they didn't do that at the end. They just went, yeah, Serafina still hates herself and her disability, but now she has a man. And he doesn't hate her disability as much as she does. Like, he still probably hates it, but not as much as she does. And so, lucky her for finding a man that loves her the way that she is, despite her being disabled, because disabled people are so difficult to love. Like, that's the message that this book sends. Like, to me at least. Maybe not to other people, but that's the message that it sends to me. That, like, I have to be lucky if someone actually ends up falling in love with me because, oh, it's so difficult to love me because I'm disabled. Like, oh no, you use a cane to walk? Now nobody can ever love you. And if someone does end up loving you, you're very, very lucky with that, and you should praise that person every single day for it. Like, that's how it feels to me. And again, maybe like other disabled people feel differently. And if you actually like this book, that's completely fine with me. That's your opinion. But my opinion is that I didn't like it. Like, I gave it 1 star. I just like didn't like it. And I wrote like a Goodreads review as well. If you want to read that, I'll see if I can like link it in the description, as well as just like my Goodreads in general, because I feel like I can express myself better in writing, because I feel like whenever I talk, I'm just like rambling. So yeah, I am gonna also link like another video where I talked about this book, because I remember I said something else in that video that was a really good point, and I forgot what it was. So I'm just gonna link that video, and maybe even the timestamp if that's like something that you can do, where you can watch what I said. Because I remember it was a really good point, and I cannot remember it. Because my memory is really bad, because I'm disabled, so yeah. I was very disappointed by this book, you can probably tell. I hope this didn't come over as like disrespectful to the author, because I'm not trying to like, I don't know, like shame her for writing this book or something like that. I just feel like it could have been written in a more kind way towards disabled people. So yeah, I hope nobody comes at me for saying all of this, because I'm a very sensitive person. So yeah, let's get into the next book. So after the disaster that was reading the previous book, I decided to read volume 2 and 3 of Gakuen Babysitters. Now, I've already mentioned this, I always reread these volumes whenever I'm feeling down, and after the previous book I felt very down. So yeah, I decided to read these volumes, and I've talked about this series quite a lot. It's very cute. It's about like babies, and a guy has to like take care of them while he's also like going to school. Very adorable, even to me, someone who doesn't want kids. So yeah, it's very adorable. Again, 5 out of 5 stars for both volume 2 and 3. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more of this series. Then the next book that I read is also a book that I read on my e-reader. As you can tell, I was really making use of my new e-reader. So yeah, the next book that I read was Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating. I have no idea if I pronounced that wrong because it's very difficult to say. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I hope I can find like a physical copy of it one day. And I would like to reread it then and like annotate it. Because obviously, because I read it in like ebook form, I don't have like a physical copy. But yeah, I was very excited to read this book. I was a little bit disappointed just because it didn't live up to my like expectations. Like I expected this to be a 5-star book. It wasn't. It was 4 stars, but it was still very good. I really enjoyed it. Anyone who even tries to hurt Honey or Issue will have to fight me. And remember, I use a cane to walk, so yeah, I'll be using that cane. But yeah, these characters, like, I'm very like protective of them now because they're like my babies now, even though they probably would be older than me if they were real people. But yeah, I'm very protective of them. It was a good book, not as good as I wanted it to be, but still very good, and I really enjoyed it, and I want a physical copy. Then next I decided to read some more manga because I was still trying to reach 150 books, but I just kind of like gave up at the end of December. I didn't end up reaching 150 books, but I'm not too like mad about that. But I did decide to read Demon Slayer Volume 1 till 7. I wanted to reread this because I want to read like the whole series. I only have them until volume 13 or 14, I think. And yeah, I want to reread all of them because I do hopefully want to finish this series this year because the last like couple volumes are out. So yeah, hopefully I can be able to finish this series this year and catch up with the anime because currently the second season of the anime is airing. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up with that. But yeah, anytime that I like read one of these volumes, I always seem to forget just how emotional they can be. Like I cried multiple times, not like, I didn't like bawl my eyes out, but I did like shed a few tears. So yeah, I always forget how emotional these volumes can be and how heavy these volumes can be, not just in like the topics, but also in physically how heavy they are. Like I'm struggling to hold them up. But yeah, I think I did change my rating from like 5 stars per volume to like 4 to like 3 stars depending on which volume, because I'm still learning how to like properly like rate mangas because they're very difficult to rate to me. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to read this entire series this year. That's kind of like my goal because I'm really excited to like finish this series. So yeah, let me just put these down now because I'm in a lot of pain. So here they are. Then next I read Homegirlhood. This was again from NetGalley. As you can tell, again, I was really making use of my e-reader. But yeah, the reason why I wanted to read this was because I really like the cover. It's really pretty. I kind of want like a physical copy of this book, but it's very expensive. So yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get a physical copy of this unless someone like gifts it to me. But yeah, I really like this book. I can't remember how many stars I gave it because I also didn't write it down, but it was really good. Some topics were a bit like intense to read about and made me a bit uncomfortable, especially when in this book the author was talking about like her relationship with her mother. Like that made me a little bit uncomfortable, but other than that it was pretty good. It also had like a very abrupt ending, which was kind of nice, to be honest. I sometimes like an abrupt ending, and this was like one of the cases where I liked it. So yeah, I did really like it. Hopefully one day I can get a physical copy of it. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about this because I really want to wrap this video up because I'm starting to have issues like speaking. So yeah, I'm gonna just try and end this video, which makes me a bit sad because I was supposed to film like 2 videos today and this is only the first one, and I don't think I'm gonna film the second one. So yeah, that's a bit upsetting, but oh well. Then the next manga that I read was Cherry Magic Volume 1. Now I decided to read this manga because I'm currently still watching the like live action BL show of this. I haven't finished it because I'm too scared to finish it because I know that one of the episodes is really sad, and I keep stopping right before that episode and then just rewatching the beginning, which I really need to stop doing that. But yeah, I only read the first volume of this. I do think I enjoy the live action a lot more because the story is just a bit better, I guess. And with better, I mean one of the main characters suffers for longer, which, you know, sometimes a character has to suffer for longer for the thing that you're watching or reading to be better, in my opinion. If you've like watched a show or read the manga or you know a little bit about both, you probably know what I mean with like a main character suffers for longer. You probably know what I mean. I'm not gonna say it because I feel like that spoils it a bit. But yeah, I did really enjoy it. I like the live action more, but I did enjoy this one. I'm maybe gonna see if I want to read like the next couple volumes, but I'm not sure yet. So yeah, we'll see about that, I guess. Then the next manga that I definitely read was A Man and His Cat. I definitely read this manga. This is not like a cover-up for another manga that I read, but I'm too ashamed to talk about it and about the fact that I read it. So yeah, this is definitely what I read. It was very cute and very adorable, which I'm laughing because the actual manga that I read wasn't cute or adorable, but yeah, just pretend that it's this one that I read. Yeah, very good. Wow, beautiful. Definitely read this. Let's go to the last book that I read in December and just forget about this. Yeah, last book of December now. So the last book that I read in December was Fearless. I read this with an audiobook. I'm still trying to like get into audiobooks again. I might just see if I'm gonna be able to get into them this month because I'm having like trouble reading, like I already mentioned. But yeah, this is a very short audiobook. It's only like 40 minutes long, I think. So yeah, it's very short. It was a bit too short in my opinion because I feel like because it was so short, I forgot everything about it because I just didn't like connect with the characters for long enough that, like I said, I just forgot everything about it. But yeah, I did end up giving it like 3 stars. It was, from what I remember of it, which isn't a lot, quite cute, I think. And I like the representation, obviously, which if you don't know or can't tell from the cover, the representation is, you know, a sapphic couple. So yeah, it was pretty good, I think. Very short. If you want like a very short, like sapphic book, I recommend this one. So yeah, those were all of the things that I read in December. Like I said, it wasn't like a great reading month, but I did manage to read quite a few things, which I'm very happy about. You know, some not so great things, some very great things. Like I said, I am a bit sad that I'm not going to be able to film like a second video after this, because it takes me quite long to get ready to film because of like my physical issues and my mental health. But yeah, sadly enough, I'm not going to be able to film a second video. Hopefully that won't cause any problems in the future with me not having enough like spare videos to post when I can't physically film. So yeah, hopefully that will be fine, I guess. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that my like whole rant towards the beginning of this video wasn't too annoying. I'm sorry if it was like a bit too difficult to understand or something like that. But yeah, I always get very like heated whenever I talk about stuff like that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video, especially because it took me so much effort, especially after that whole rant. Like I feel like that whole rant completely like exhausted my brain because I can't properly like talk anymore, I feel like. So yeah, I hope you still enjoyed this video though, despite all of that. I hope you're having a nice January. I hope your reading month is going a lot better than mine because, like I said, I haven't read anything yet. I'm hoping to change that this week, but we'll see, I guess. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and bye.